What's up, everyone? It's Dakota, and welcome back to another discussion video. And today we're going to be talking about Liliana of the Veil, specifically her impact on the Pioneer format, and possibly what this reprinting has as far as like price implications for the modern version of Liliana of the Veil. But before I get too deep into it, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Ring the notification bell that lets you know when I upload videos, and I do videos like this, along with some Pioneer and modern deck techs and gameplay as well. So with that a little bit out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about Liliana the Veil. This beautiful, beautiful planeswalker uh, was kind of like a menace on modern, and I mean like that in a good way because it was a very fair planeswalker, very powerful. At one point was at least like an argument for like one of the best planeswalkers in the format, if not top two, alongside Jace essentially. Even though Jace was like not modern legal, like Liliana was probably like number two planeswalker all time ever, like at that point, and just in all printed planeswalkers, by the way, and then probably being the best planeswalker in modern. So, um, but obviously with modern, like power creep and how powerful the format is now, Liliana of the Veil really doesn't stack up really to a lot of the competition. I mean, Luris was like when Luris was in the format, Liliana of the Veil just was not played at all because it was not worth playing Liliana of the Veil to not have access to Luris because that card was just so good. But even with Luris being banned now in modern, like people are going back to playing like Liliana of the Veil, but Liliana of the Veil just doesn't have like that same impact. Like yeah, she can take over a game like in a game that's kind of like on the fence, but just as a card like maybe that you play like when you're behind, like in a high powered format like modern, she just doesn't really have like the same punch she did probably about 5 to 7 years ago. However, now the fact that Liliana the Veil is being printed in a standard set, which mind you, like packs are like $4 or $5 depending on where you like buy them from. Um, can impact the price of Liliana the Veil significantly. I would expect at least like the price to come down by at least like 10-20 bucks. Like I feel like that has to be the minimum maybe for for like this copy in particular. Maybe like some of the older ones will see like a dip in price as well, just for the fact that there is a new printing in a standard legal set. But again, that's like not financial advice or anything like that. I don't know if I have to say it for that, but I will say it anyway just to CYA. um, but Liliana of the Veil being in Pioneer in a format right now where currently, you have like Blue Red Phoenix, you have like these mono green variations of like Devotion, you have Red White Aggro, you have Black Red Midrange is kind of like your seat of like top decks in the format. Of course, you have other decks that are being played that are very good, but I think those decks primarily taking like a lot of like the space and stuff. I guess if you don't count like Band Spirits, like Mono Blue Spirits and things like that. So, um, but Liliana can slot into essentially one of the best decks in the format in like black red mid range, at least in like some number of copies. Like I don't think that she'll necessarily be like a full four of. I think decks will play four of this when it is legal, just to see kind of where she fits like in the deck. She could end up just being like a very good role player to like one of their finishing threats. The -6 on this card is very real. When you are able to make pretty good piles that like are really just a bad decision for your opponent either way, and just leaves them wanting, obviously wanting more. I mean, they usually have to sacrifice like half their permanents, but like being able to make piles in such a way where like you could easily make it one pile of like this most powerful card that beats you, and then the rest of the other cards. But if you're able to obviously get rid of a little bit more, that's kind of like where the power in this is. It's definitely like I would say a skill to be able to make very effective veil piles. The +1 and the -2, obviously do have their spots. They are very good. Getting to basically put pressure on your opponent who wants to hit land drops, who wants to be able to cast like multiple spells, but then they're having to discard a card every turn. Notably, this is obviously going to be pretty bad against like the blue red Phoenix decks because it's a free way for them to ditch like Phoenixes and stuff like that. But if they have to discard like a cantrip, if a redundant lands like probably fine like late game and stuff for them. Um, Aside from that, like the rest of the decks in the format, like really just don't want their hand pressured because they don't have those extra resources they want to get rid of. They're usually just kind of like holding on to what they have so that they can eventually kind of like go off and do their thing. And Liliana of the Veil can like disrupt that, especially with some of the other elements, like specifically in like the black red mid range decks and some of the other mid range decks that can play Liliana of the Veil that are playing like Thoughtseize and things like that. On top of like the -2 just being like a way to get around like the Brave the Elements for like the mono white deck. Even though like they'll get to sacrifice like their worst human, there are spots that you can get them into where they have like their 3-drop um, creature that like makes dudes when they attack. I think it's like Adeline. You could like put them in situations like that, and then like if they have like a Mutavault, they have to choose like either basically get Stone Rained or lose their Adeline and things like that. So like there's definitely like spots where like the -2 and like the +1 on Liliana the Veil is pretty good. And I think this card will make an impact in Pioneer. Exactly how big it is, like no one can be for sure exactly, but we know Liliana the Veil is a very powerful planeswalker. She was one of the best cards that you could play in Jund, back in the day, and even now, like in Modern, while she might not be as powerful as she used to be, she's still a very good card, and I would expect nothing short of not greatness, but just definitely being like at worst like a role player like in Pioneer. And it's awesome that we have this card. uh, there's other like planeswalkers that have been printed that I really can't think of off the top of my head that I kind of wish like would have a run in like Pioneer, just because I think they'd be sweet to play. Like the original like Lorwyn planeswalkers would be like really sweet to get to play with, in Pioneer. I think it's like low impact, but that's a different video for another day. That's kind of like my thoughts and opinions on like Liliana the Veil. Great card. Obviously, I'd love to see it in Pioneer, and I'd love to see it show up in $4 booster packs, so I could hopefully eventually get my set for Pioneer or Modern or whatever other deck like these cards can go into. But of course, let me know in the comments of this video what you think of Liliana the Veil, the level of impact that she could have in the Pioneer format, maybe like what you would expect the price to go down to once this card actually gets released and kind of the prices settle down. And of course, leave a like on the video as well if you want to see me go over more spoilers and kind of like their impact on potential Eternal formats. Of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and toss me a subscribe and ring the notification bell. I like to post videos like this, some discussion type videos, as long as like gameplay and deck text for the Modern and Pioneer format. So if that's something you're interested in, of course, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you know when those videos go live. That's going to do it for me in this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.